The Baltimore Ravens suffered a devastating loss in yesterday's AFC Championship game. Baltimore didn't play well at all. They picked the worst possible time to have their worst game, and this was their worst game of the season. I picked them to win because I looked at everything that this team had. I mean, they were, to me, the most complete team in the NFL. They had a stout defense. They had a very potent offense led by Lamar Jackson. And I know Lamar Jackson is receiving a lot of criticism today. He is being talked about because of that subpar performance that we saw yesterday from him. And they just didn't play great. The offense turned over the ball. You had a few meltdowns in the red zone. Zay Flowers, man, having the ball punched out at the goal line, which resulted in a touchback. I mean, and the defense did everything it needed to do. The defense did its job. They kept them in the game. They neutralized the Chiefs' offense, kept that offense at bay as much as possible to allow the Baltimore Ravens to have a chance to pull off a comeback or at least make the game interesting. And the Baltimore Ravens, they couldn't get anything going offensively. Like, they couldn't generate enough offense. Lamar Jackson, didn't use his legs enough. And that's the thing with him, right? He can use his legs. He can hurt you in a variety of ways. And teams fear him because of his ability to run and use his legs. He didn't use his legs enough. He was passing down the field. You saw the pass into triple coverage, and that's a big no-no. That's a big no-no. That's a dangerous pass. You never do that. That is unacceptable. That cannot happen, particularly in a championship game. That should never happen, and it did. And you saw the frustration. I mean, we saw the uncharacteristic plays, the self-inflicted wounds, that proved costly for this team. You saw a very immature team. I mean, these guys were frustrated, acting out of character. You saw the penalties, the silly penalties, the costly mistakes, the silly, mistakes. This team was getting penalized. Very undisciplined football from a team that held it together all year and that looked like a Super Bowl contender up until yesterday, up until what we saw on Sunday. And they faced a Kansas City Chiefs team that didn't play up to their standards this year. This Chiefs team wasn't that good. The offense struggled all year. And I had written this team off. I didn't really give this team a chance because I didn't see them really having much of a chance. I called them a one and done team because this offense was terrible. And then they suddenly got it together at the right time. Kelsey had one hell of a performance. That might have been one of the greatest performances by a tight end that we saw yesterday. And we all know how historically good Patrick Mahomes is, But you go back to the regular season, you had guys dropping passes. You had receivers who were offsides. You were getting penalized a lot. Travis Kelsey didn't look like himself. And this offense finally rediscovered themselves. They found it. And now they're going back to the Super Bowl. The Ravens, they just didn't look like themselves at all. They looked like a team that was rattled. I saw a bunch of guys who were rattled. I saw a bunch of guys who were frustrated. I saw a bunch of guys who couldn't keep their emotions in check. There was a lack of composure, very undisciplined play, uninspired football, and Lamar Jackson made some throws that just were off, some untimely throws, just not himself, very uncharacteristic. You saw the level of frustration. You saw that he was rattled, that he looked nervous at times, that he looked like he wanted to just give up and not go back out there. At times, to me, Lamar Jackson looked very defeated. you know, and they just didn't play this game with a sense of urgency. They didn't play like the team that we saw all season, right? And they didn't look like a team that wanted to play in the Super Bowl. So now their season comes to an end, and now the Chiefs go back to the Super Bowl where they've been before, and now Mahomes has a chance to win his third Super Bowl title. And the Ravens, man, this is something that they're going to have to live with this offseason. This one is going to hurt for a while. This one is going to sting for some time. And all they can do now is try it again next season. But I think the bigger story here is the Lamar Jackson loss. It's not so much what the Chiefs did, but it's how the Ravens lost this football game, and it was a devastating loss.